Hello and welcome. This is Galactic Animals. I'm Jared, and my co-host Jake right along with me. And this is our first, wait a minute, I'm being distracted now by a Guinness zero proof. What the hell is that, Jake? I was going to intro the show, and you're pouring a zero proof Guinness.
Yep. That's what you did to me last time.
We drank those in Detroit. Those are delicious.
We had the zeros there?
Yeah, we were playing darts.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we were alternating. We were drinking one regular, one zero. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, well, let's pretend this is zero proof bourbon. Anyway, tonight's show is about creating things that didn't exist and the blurred lines between what is it when we're just altering something or when we're actually creating something in nature, right? So like we just discovered this guy. Don't ask me how. We didn't know about this. In 2010, there's an individual, J. Craig Venter. I keep wanting to say Ventnor. Just comes out of the mouth a little easier. Venter, and American scientist, has his own institute, right? I think he originally worked for like NIH. The guy's like, he was brilliant. And basically he may have or did something similar to creating life, but not technically. So we'll talk about some of that. And then also some new breakthroughs in quantum computing, not the newest, but it's something that is it's pretty new to me. I have not really dug into it, but Microsoft may have created a new state of matter, right? So you've got solid, liquid, gas, plasma, the redheaded stepchild plasma that gets forgotten often, even though it burns into our eyes every day if we look up at the sun. Yeah, they figured something else out, and it doesn't sound like something that I would know how to talk about, but I think I can, and so we're gonna try.
Man,
and then whatever else happens, right?
I'm locked in.
Yeah, locked in. Jake, how much preparation did you do for this show?
Dude, I prepare for shows like this all the time, constantly in my head.
Yeah. Yeah, that's your style.
That's not even a joke. I have probably, not even kidding, probably like 12 or 13 emails that I've sent to myself over the last few years that could be very like super acutely related to this episode. That when I wrote emails to myself about it, I would never have thought we were doing this episode, but I am always prepared to talk about this kind of shit.
All right, good. Well, you can carry me throughout certain points. So after we finished our last episode, that intro episode where we reintroduced ourselves,
that was a joy.
Oh, it was great.
I mean, for me, at least, it was great.
It was fun. There was a TikTok popped up, and it was a clip from, and I didn't realize it at the time, but a clip from an episode of 60 Minutes from 2010 with the scientist J. Craig Venter. And Venter is a guy who, I mean, he basically, I guess one of the lines that I saw was that he figured out the human genome in like 2 years, where it was going to take another 15 possibly with government funding. He did private funding, did it in 2 years. And then instead of like it being patented, he just released it on the internet and shared it. Right.
Okay.
Is that,
I don't know.
I think that's a thing he did.
I don't know if that's true. And you're not actually speaking about it with much authority. So I guess that's probably good.
Did Venter give out?
Oh yeah. Yeah, give it to me. Type that shit in.
Jamie,
there.
Look it up. We don't have a Jamie.
Wow. Corey.
He did not freely give out the human genome. Of course. Why would I be right? In the way, let me finish this. In the way the public sector human genome project did.
Yeah.
He aimed to patent and sell access to it, while his company, Celera Genomics, was forced to share the data after pressure. He initially sought to monopolize genetic insights, not provide an open access public good, causing intense scientific controversy, which we're going to talk about ethics a little bit later on, but that is it's a huge ethical dilemma right there off the bat.
Speaking of ethical dilemmas, just what you just did on an actual live show,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how ethical that was. Also, to correct your first like supposition guess, did you just read the AI summary?
Yeah, but that's off Google. It's not the ChatGPT summary
Okay, so we still don't know because
because
we
we
knew
don't
you
trust
were
AI.
wrong. Your guess was wrong, and then we verified that your guess was wrong with something that could also be wrong.
Well, I mean, there's the Substack here. There's a
Like
Substack. So
you hallucinated
Craig Venter
the shit
did
out of that
not
story.
decode the human genome.
Okay.
Should have never
All
even
like
talked about the
literally
human
off
genome.
the top of my head, what I remembered about the genome was that it was I think like one of the most expensive, ambitious government funded scientific projects ever
Yeah.
undertaken. And it took a long time, but it was eventually successful,
He helped push the Human Genome Project into a faster, more competitive era.
says Cortana.
ChatGPT.
Okay. Well, I mean, show prep wasn't our forte. You know, it never was the reason why we were good at this.
No,
It wasn't because of elite preparation.
no.
In fact, that's never been your strength in any particular walk of life, but you're good as fuck like in the moment
Yeah,
unless you're having a panic attack. That's a totally different topic which we covered.
bro, we're beyond that.
But other than that, you actually do crush it in the moment.
Um, well,
So crush it.
what I do know is ignore that part. Basically, took how's the way that the way they worded is basically a cell and then pumped in the genetic code and then basically created this synthetic bacteria. Right.
I mean, you pretty much nailed that, I think.
Yeah. That's so that's what the 60 that's what I should have just stuck with that part. I didn't need to elaborate on the other things that this I didn't need to do the biographic. I know that he died last week.
He
I know
died
that.
last week,
He
yeah.
died last week.
Got that right as well,
Yeah.
as far as we can tell. Um,
I
yeah,
mean,
he's dead. He's no
obits
longer
don't
with
lie.
us. He was in his 80s, right?
I thought he was 79. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe wrong.
Where's he from?
That I don't know. I know
Hometown?
I know he's got some institutes with his name on them, and one of them's in Rockville, Maryland.
Anyway, yeah, so the 2 words there that creeped me the fuck out were synthetic bacteria,
Yeah.
and in retrospect, I think the camera quality of that TikTok you sent was a bit grainy and probably should have tipped us off that it was an old video, but
Mhm.
I still find it preposterous that people were out here creating synthetic forms of life in 2010,
Yeah.
16 years ago. I was not even 30 years old when this was happening, apparently. We
Yeah.
didn't even know each other.
No, I was in Syracuse University at the time.
You were on your way to the Levitel.
I was studying other no, no, no. This was post Levito, bro.
Oh, I'm sorry. This was
This was
post Levitel.
the
You were on your
highly
way to some
esteemed
other award.
Syracuse University military motion media program that I was
Right.
in.
Anyway, I think what happened,
Yeah.
there are 2 different news pegs, as we call them in the industry. 2 different news pegs happened last week. One was that Venter died, and
Mhm.
that could have started circulating some of his old content, like the 60 Minutes segment. But also on April 30th, which I believe was the day after he died, different synthetic biologists published a paper in the journal Science, so one of the top journals in the world. And what these people did is, I mean, arguably crazier than creating a bacteria from like in a lab,
Okay.
because in some of you, I'm sure some of our listeners know this, but there are 20 essential amino acids for forms of life. And I guess there are like a couple forms of life that will use 21 or 22, but never has there ever been. What?
Gym rats know this, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Amino acids.
Our listeners, yeah.
Getting pumped up.
BCAAs, bro.
BCAAs.
Never have there ever been a discovery, never has there been a discovery of a life form of any kind that uses fewer than 20 amino acids.
Right.
This experiment, which was just published last week, the day after Venter died, actually accomplished that. I will read briefly
Please do.
from the article on science.org.
Yeah, please do.
Of the hundreds of types of amino acids found on Earth, it's a mystery why life settled on 20 as the building blocks for all its proteins.
Mm.
Although certain species can use more, some microbes employ up to 22, no one's ever found one using fewer. But now, scientists are closer to creating such an organism after partially eliminating one of the 20 amino acids from the bacterium Escherichia coli, otherwise known as E. coli. The research published today in Science, as in April 30th, used artificial intelligence to propose alternatives to the amino acid isoleucine in dozens of proteins making up bacterial ribosomes. And the ribosomes are the protein factories of the living cell.
Right.
The findings offer a glimpse into how earlier, simpler life forms might have lived and suggest new ways to synthesize proteins with bespoke functions in medicine and biotechnology. Okay, so the applications here are crazy. The implications here are crazy.
Yeah, I need to better understand these implications. Why do I care that we're going from 20 to 19? What are we doing here?
Okay. Well,
I know it ain't good with chromosomes. Why is it okay with this stuff?
If you can create any kind of life,
right,
like self-replicating DNA, which is what Venter did in a way. Although my understanding of his experiments were they still needed to start with a living cell of some sort.
That's the thing. I mean, is the living cell? It's like if we break this down simply, I guess, and this is like maybe oversimplifying it, is that that living cell is it's like your computer, and then the genetic code that they're pumping in is like the software. It's like adding software to something.
Sure. Yeah. That's what in the 50s we discovered what DNA was, and it was kind of like the instructions for life. That's how people describe DNA in the scientific community for a long time, right? Then you fast forward into late 90s, turn of the century, the Human Genome Project. We had to decode the human genome. 10 years or so later, we've got synthetic bacterium from Ventnor and his team, where you're taking a living cell, but you're creating a new type of bacterium in a lab, which can then replicate itself because of the DNA that the scientists coded and inserted. Okay.
Right.
Now
he did some in 2016 too. There was another version of that was done as well. But
if you say so.
Yeah.
Do you want me to give you a pause here to make some shit up about that real quick, or?
Nah, we're good. Keep going.
So now we're at the point where we'll get to the AI of it all in a second, but we're at the point where we have the technology to create synthetic life forms that don't even use the 20. And the more essential amino acids there are, the more difficult the proposition is. So I'm trying to find like an analog for you, but let's say you had to solve a complex well, I'll just make it even easier. Let's say you had to win a cooking contest and it's like Iron Chef, and what you have to do to win is create the food with all the essential ingredients in the recipe. And there are 100 of them. You got to find all those motherfuckers and then make the food. If you can win Iron Chef and the recipe only calls for 20 or 18 or 16 or 5, well, now you're still serving the meal that's supposed to be really hard. And for scientists, this was a gigantic thing to do, even partially removing the isoleucine, I think is what it's called, right?
Yeah,
Did I
yeah,
get that
yeah.
right? Was absolutely, it took a long time and they were surprised when it worked. So, as with anything that becomes easier,
No.
that has a possible dual purpose, right? So, it's easy and it can have a positive and negative application. We start getting into danger zones. So, if it takes if it takes 20 amino acids to build a nuclear bomb and it's really hard to get all 20, well then very few people can build a nuclear bomb. As soon as you start reducing the number of amino acids you need to build a nuclear bomb, then you obviously can see that different types of people can start to access that technology. And I obviously
Fewer
amino acids,
necessary ingredients.
yeah,
Yeah.
obviously amino acids don't build nuclear bombs, but that's the analog is that this for all the positive applications we could do, we could teach one of the things they're doing with these synthetic bacteria,
Right.
even going back to Venter, was like we can make bacteria that are trained and designed to eat plastic and like
Yeah.
biodegrade plastic. So you can
Yep.
just theoretically toss them out in the ocean. There goes all the plastic back
Yeah.
into, a
Or I
good
mean, create
broken down state.
biofuels as well. I mean, that was
Or
another.
that.
Yeah.
For every one of those applications, there's like a dozen nefarious examples of shit you could do if you had the mind to do so.
Yeah.
So that's one implication that's a little freaky. The other thing that's kind of cool, I don't remember if you were talking to me about this. Someone was recently just talking to me about this, but if if there is life elsewhere in the universe, this really changes a lot of just the basic thought about how to look for it and what it could look like. If you're looking for the conditions for life elsewhere in the universe and your assumption is that you need conditions that allow for these 20 amino acids to build proteins and those proteins then eventually lead to life. Well, if you're starting to question all those suppositions, you can start to imagine different forms of life in different environments. And that's really not terribly hard to imagine. We've already done some of that in like since we started imagining and studying life itself. There's usually fairly regularly scientists are surprised at the types of life and the types of environments that life is
Hmm.
possible in, even on
Yeah.
Earth.
Yeah.
So if you start just reducing the number of amino acids that are essential, quote unquote, now essential, like it could be one other thing that we're discovering we were wrong about. And now, well, shit, well, what is life? It's not necessarily just how we do it on Earth.
All right. There's a few different ways I can go there. I wanted to, recognize. I think that one of those, the aspect that I think of often is, or at least that allows me to go places in my mind um, that's who says that oxygen, water, who says that all of these things is what necessitates like how like
Yeah.
that's why we need like that's how we have life. It's how we know of life, right? And then I think what you were talking about also is looking on Earth, and you can go down to the depths, the abyss, the bottom of the ocean, and find creatures that live all around vents that like release gases and boiling water and hot, and they just live there chilling. It's their place. There's no light, and it's not very comfortable. Or like lakes full of sulfur, so very
Yeah.
sulfuric, high sulfuric content lakes or ponds or whatever the hell. Things live in that. So if that's the case, well, then what's everything that I mean, we talk about tardigrades. I mean,
Tardigrades.
that's something we've talked about a million times, and their survivability.
Those were once part of our logo.
They were before the show actually ever started.
We could still turn them into some kind of mascot, but
Yeah,
I like to think about, and this will be a theme of the show, I think, but the difference between understanding something and naming something. And that is fundamental to the pursuit of knowledge and what we call science. And I mean, of course, I love science. Science is amazing. I'm not anti-science. But ironically, what science teaches us more than anything is not what we know, but what we don't yet know. That's what it's supposed to be for. So every time you discover something in science, you're typically discovering at least two or more things that you now don't know.
I mean, it's led to a lot of skepticism from just general public because they don't like to find out that something has changed in the world of
Right.
science.
Right.
What do you mean this is no longer that? See, I guess you're not so smart. That type of attitude that
Yeah.
is thrown around rather often, especially in current cultural climate
We
in the United States. So,
we think what we seek is knowledge, but what our souls and hearts are seeking is security and certainty. So what we
mhm.
do is we seek knowledge, and as soon as we can approximate comfort, certainty, we then give names to the things we just discovered. So an example would be if you just parachuted down from Titan as an alien and you got to Earth and you're like, you're on a deadline to discover what life on Earth is, you might in a hurry go, okay, I see dirt. I see this stubby, spindly green stuff on the ground. I see some tall brown and green things sticking out of the ground. I also see some really hard, dark, like you're looking at grass, trees, and rocks, but you're there to study life. And if you're just getting there and you're not looking deep yet, you will be looking for things that move around. And you'd be like, ah, there's the life. I see a worm. I see a bird. I see a human. I see a deer.
Right.
And you would start to study those things. And you might completely be committed to figuring out how those moving things, those non static moving objects, are alive. And what you would find is that all of those things breathe in oxygen and exhale CO2. And eventually, you would determine that that's how life works.
Right.
These things breathe in the air, the
Mhm.
oxygen is taken up, and then they breathe out carbon.
Right.
And once you got comfortable with that, you would settle in. That's a law of life on Earth. Well, then you'd start to get bored and go, what are these plants that are there? Okay, let's study these now. And then you'd be like, shit, they're alive too. They breathe in the air,
Chlorophyll.
they eat the carbon and consume that shit, and then they expel the oxygen.
Mhm.
Huh, but they're alive.
Yeah.
So everything I thought about life is reversed if I just
Yeah.
look at this other form. And then you get to mushrooms, you'd be like, what the fuck are mushrooms?
Well, bro.
These motherfuckers look like plants. They also breathe like mammals. Don't ask me why. Oh, wait. That caterpillar just cocooned itself. It's now a rock. Nope, it's a fucking butterfly. Just wait long enough. What happened? No idea. It turned into goop and it came out with wings. Why didn't it have wings to begin with? Like certain other things? We don't know. But it turned into goop and it came out with wings. That shit's magic. No, it's not magic. We have a name for it. Metamorphosis. Okay, I feel better now.
Uh-huh.
My point is,
Uh-huh.
we are constantly trying to figure out the rules,
Mhm.
and we get to these intervals where we feel like we have figured out some rules and we feel good, and we
Religion helped fill in a lot of holes when we didn't have understand a lot of rules.
call it whatever you want. People make
What I'm
science a
saying
religion,
is we'll
you
even
know?
fill in the holes. We'll fill in them holes on our own, baby. We don't need it don't need to be scientific.
No, no,
No,
humans
no, no,
fill the
no.
holes.
Listen, what do you mean? That's not a the moon is not moving in front of the sun and they don't rotate it. That's not how that works. No, that's God's wrath. We have to sacrifice somebody when it gets no. It's not an eclipse.
I would respect anyone, religious or otherwise, who at least just allows for the mystery of the universe to remain present. The
No doubt.
curiosity
No doubt.
there, that is one way that I feel like either side of that, there are plenty of religious, God believing people, myself included, who are leaving a lot of room for the mystery and the unknown and
Positive psychology
super
thrives on
cool.
the idea of being in awe,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's so
And
I'm not here. Listen, I have my own thoughts on some of these issues, but I won't, I don't shit on other people's thoughts or beliefs of those things. That's not what I'm here to do right now. But when I set that example, that is an example of, it's that's a real life example, right? I mean, it's the same idea.
yeah, but and I'm not defending like hand wavy explanations, but I would say that what is more true is in the aggregate, in the big picture, like we don't really understand any of the why and very little of the how about what's going on in the world. And a religious person may not understand the science and may not be interested in the science, but at least they're not pretending to actually know. And that is a problem that some science minded people, typically not real scientific researchers I encounter, and I do work with and have worked with several, like the good scientists are pretty comfortable with being uncertain and
Right.
the constant, never ending pursuit of knowledge that always leads to more questions. Like that is how good science is done. It's people who are like science hobbyists who just like the comfort and who just live on the names of things as if they have the certainty. I object to that. I object to that just as much as anyone who tries to tell me that they know exactly how the world was created in 7 days when the Bible doesn't even really get into detail about that either. So it's the certainty that is the problem in a lot of cases.
Yes.
Point being on this topic is just
Yes.
who knows what we're going to find if we start willingly again rethinking the rules about life.
Um, so one of the questions that pops up is, do we consider this the creation of life? I mean, I think that the easy broad answer right off the top is no, right? I mean, it's not, right? At least an inventor didn't create life. He kind of took something that already existed and then made it something else or something. He like put gas in the vehicle that already existed and then turned on the ignition, or it turned its own ignition on. I mean, whatever. But do we consider, and I know less about, I know, what the paper that you were just talking about, that was published, you said what, the day after he died?
April 30th.
Do we consider that, or like, are we at that point? Are we at that point where we're we're gonna, like, we might create life? What does that even mean? What does the idea of, what does that mean, creating life?
Does it matter?
I don't know. I
Like
think it does. I think it does in the aspect, in the way that it's talked about when these things happen, when these breakthroughs happen. How do you explain them to the public? How do you, right?
did
Because I
your
think
mom
that
and
we have to be
dad sorry, go ahead.
I think we have to be careful about some of that stuff because it can freak people out, or they misunderstand it, or they don't, feel comfortable with it. I mean, are these things that we should be dabbling, shouldn't be doing? Is there a, you know,
I
I
don't
just think
care
it
about
goes in.
that.
Yeah, you
I
don't
don't
care about any of
I
it. But
don't care
what
about
I'm saying is, while you don't care about it, I think there are a lot of people who do care about that stuff. I think it is it's not the most important question, but it's who's
is
going to
this
do
a
what with it? Who owns it? Who controls that life that they've created? If that is that point, who is that, something that does someone own that?
so I guess is this sort of a religious going back to the religious like sensibility?
No, I think it's more leaning into, I think what I'm trying to get at might lean, again, more into the ethical questions
Okay.
surrounding the idea of, all right, here's an easy, cloning sheep. Remember that? Remember when
Yeah,
cloning was the big thing, right? We can clone now. Whatever happened with that?
it was the big thing.
Cloning was a big thing. Remember acid? I was talking to Priscilla the other day. Acid rain. Remember acid rain was a
Yeah, I
huge.
remember that.
Remember acid rain? Like where
And
did
acid
the acid
rain,
rain go?
Coke 2, cloning. These are all fucking Hoobastank. These are all like popular things for some reason. Go ahead.
Hoobastank had one good song.
Don't get sidetracked with Hoobastank. It's okay.
They were
Cloning.
supposed to open for Incubus the one time I saw them, and they didn't. Anyway,
They did open for Incubus when I saw Incubus in Germany, and they weren't good. Okay, and it
was it the
wasn't a
Civic
surprise.
Tour?
I don't know.
Okay.
2002 probably.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, that might have been it. But the reason, again, like I brought it up, is the way that these things are explained to people, and making it palatable, and making it understandable, but also, I mean, I think right now people panic about AI.
Sorry, I'm distracted now. Hoobastank. Who the fuck named Hoobastank? Like, obviously, science didn't do that. Science is good at naming stuff. Metamorphosis. That sounds legit.
Yeah.
Photosynthesis. That shit. That's a good name
Yeah.
for what's going on. Hoobastank.
No.
Any theories on that at all?
No.
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 Okay.
Should we look it up?
All right. I will try to answer your question. Is creation a binary question? No.
Is anything?
Is anything a binary question? Not really. I don't know if you could say your mom and dad created you. Like, even just genetically speaking, they didn't even use only their own genes to mix up and make you. They used all the genes from their parents and grandparents.
Mhm.
And then some totally random shit happened in your mom's womb. It's not like they had a whole lot, like a bunch of volition.
Hoobastank finally admit they regret their name.
Oh my God. Thank you. Another thing I didn't know happened that I
20
should have fucking known.
This comes from Virgin Radio, back in 2021, January
Get this
29th.
right, Jared. Don't fuck this up
Hoobastank
here.
finally admitted they regret their name. Hoobastank, an undoubtedly brilliant band with an undoubtedly terrible name. Their front man has shared a TikTok video making fun of their choice of moniker.
An undoubtedly brilliant band.
Listen, this is Virgin Radio. I didn't write
I don't
this.
know what that
Virgin
is.
Radio UK. Let's see who actually wrote it. Look at that. The author didn't even want to put their name on it. Just says Virgin Radio.
Let's put Hoobastank in the title of this and see what happens to the algorithm. Hoobastank and other names of the universe. Hoobastank and other questionable creations. We'll get there. Anyway, I was just trying to make the point that
we got a viewer, Robinson Fam 87. Yo, Hoobastank 311 Incubus, February 02, Cologne, Germany.
who's saying that? One of our viewers.
I think you might know him. I'm assuming that's Will.
Oh, okay. Robinson something, yeah. So he would know all about Hoobastank. He's pretty up on those turn of the century bands that wanted to be rock bands but weren't. They missed the boat. He's definitely got a lot of knowledge about such bands. Love you, Will.
He loves 311.
Love you despite that. Anyway, my point was, I think if your parents were actually in charge of the creative process, would they have come up with you? Probably not. So right there, you already know that shit is fairly random. And they played a role in creating that thing that became you. And that eventually grew up, got to 4 years old, was barfing everywhere, and like had to go get hypnotized to just live life without barfing.
Yeah.
That part of it was random. They played their role. What is, first of all, what is life? If you define it as self-replicating organisms, look, okay, but we're going to talk about AI in a second. So what there are just many definitions of what is creation. What is hoobastank? Like what hoobastank is creating music. So so-called music. Did they create the songs? They didn't create the chords.
No,
They
I
didn't
think we
create the
just figured
notes.
it out. Hoobastank is life.
They
I think we just cracked the code.
shit. Cracked
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 it.
my own point.
Cracked something. Sorry.
I just don't know if that's I don't of all the questions about this, I think that would put that one down pretty far. Although I get why you asked. I'm not saying that to be shitty.
No,
It's a
I don't
good
take it that way because I purposely ask some of this stuff knowing full well where some of these responses are going to come.
oh, you're like fucking puppet master here? You're just yanking my chain and shit?
Not necessarily. That's not the intent.
Okay.
The intent is just to play devil's advocate, or I guess not. You know what it is? It's just banter, bro. It's a podcast. It's back and forth. It's
What do
me.
you
It's me asking. It's also seeing if you're going to come to the same conclusions that I'm coming to in my own head.
let me ask you this.
Oh boy.
As someone who has studied psychology as much as you have and has worked with as many patients as you have and has lived life, if I were to say, Jared, is being alive a binary question? How would you answer that? Being alive as a human.
Is it a binary question?
Yeah.
Are you looking for a binary answer? That's what I would say.
I
Right?
am looking for a binary answer to that question about whether living life as a human is binary. Are you either living life as a human or not living life as a human?
I think that that's our experience. Or we might be hallucinating and think we're a pony.
My fucking God. I'm thinking about people who have, for whatever reason,
Yeah.
like how much agency a human has, how much agency you've had in your life at various points in your life versus other points when you've had very little. Some of your patients probably have very little agency who are like absolutely unable.
Here's me not being a dick. We're going to call them clients.
Oh, sorry,
It's all right. It's all right.
clients.
Yeah, that's all.
Aren't clients the version of patients who like willingly sign up to be seen by you and pay you?
I mean, I would say that, all right. That's not necessarily a binary response either.
I mean, I think at least some of the people you've
I think
seen.
even my mandated clients, I still refer to them as clients and not patients. The only time
Okay.
that I referred to any of the people that I saw as patients is when I was in a health setting, in a hospital setting,
Okay.
and I'm helping to diagnose, a form of dementia or
Well,
a
but that's
brain
part of
injury
what
or
I'm
something,
saying. I'm
right?
saying like that subgroup of your clients, the ones who are struggling the most are still human. They're still breathing and they're still eating.
Right.
And a lot of them probably could replicate and reproduce a human if they were able to have sex.
Right.
But even that is on a spectrum. There are
Correct.
that's not exactly some of these people who are checking those boxes of life are not really living because so much of their agency is gone for whatever reason to the point where they need significant help. And I just didn't know as a psychologist, as someone who sees clients and helps them through some really bad shit, if that has crossed your mind as like where it of all even that, even living as a human is like something that's on a spectrum. How alive are you on a given day? Like I'm more alive some days than on other days. if you wanted to expand your definition of that.
Yeah. Well, I think that there's a that one of the themes that underpins this entire show, and the whole point of the show is dissecting constructs
Yes.
and understanding. I think I already said it earlier. You know, the binaries aren't really a thing, and we're gonna talk about that even more once the new way of computing. We're gonna talk about how binaries ain't a thing in a little while. So I I tend to lean into exploring nuance in any conversation I have with clients
I know this.
because it's a way of softening perspectives. It's a way to broaden perspectives. It's a way to build empathy through understanding or an understanding that you don't understand. So, I mean, I know what you're getting at, and you know,
Let's
the answer is it depends on the context of the question. It depends on who's asking. It depends on why they're asking. It depends on what the response is that they're looking for. It depends on, you know, all of those different factors, all of those different variables.
right. So when you ask what seems to be a simple question, like, did we create life?
Right.
You first have to immediately take the word life
Mm-hmm.
and deconstruct that.
Right.
And what do you mean by life?
Mm-hmm.
The bacterium in question has very little agency to do anything, but it can self-replicate and it's in a cell. You could say that's life if you want because we control the definitions of the words we invent.
And that's
But
yes, and that's also a big factor is that the moment you start to do that is the moment that you destroy, you know, you can break down people's ideas of what that means and
right,
show them they have no idea what that means, and neither do I.
right.
And be okay with it. That's the hardest part.
Uh,
And be okay with that.
I feel like what I'm gonna turn this like a half turn here because it's the
Yeah.
same topic,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna hold the thread, and I'm just gonna say we are talking about words, we're talking about names, technology, science, and the importance of attaching meaning to words that we invent. And we have to do that just to be able to tell the story of what we're learning.
Mhm.
We have to take knowledge and
Mhm.
form a narrative around it for it to be meaningful.
Right.
What we're talking about is language. And what are the best what is the best AI built on these days as opposed to in 2010?
Language.
Large language models. So now we've all messed with these on our phone, on our computer in terms of like it's literally again, think of what we called what they named it. The first ubiquitous LLM in application form was called Chat GPT because at least we're led to believe, I think they probably meant it like this is a chat bot. This was made to chat with people.
Mhm.
Okay. It's a large language model. It should
Yeah.
be able to chat. But we think of language as what we're doing right now. We're exchanging words,
Right.
writing a paper, publishing it,
Yeah.
conveying the knowledge of something with words like human language. You know what else is fucking language? Almost everything is language. Think about what else Chat GPT can do really well. Coding. Most, like, I think it's 80 to 90% of just coding, human coding jobs are already impacted
Right.
by just the Chat GPTs of like 2 years ago
Yes.
because coding is a language. If you have any experience dealing with people who do HTML and that kind of stuff, like they call it language. JavaScript, all the types of coding are languages. You know what else is a language? Math. What else Chat GPT is good at? Math. Anything that is readable in any form and is based on a pattern and predictive patterns, these LLMs are good at that shit.
Right.
Really good at it,
Right.
better than we are.
Right.
And if you start thinking of what is a language, you start realizing there's a lot fewer things that aren't languages if you think about that. And this is so
You had me going down a different path, thinking thinking about
go
great at
ahead.
math, great at coding. Those are think of those as like, the hard sciences, right? That as close to knowing these are things that we know, right?
Yeah.
What's ChatGPT not great at regarding language?
Feelings.
I was even going to say like basic research. I mean,
Really?
take it at certain points. I mean, if you're just asking, like I said, if I'm pulling up, if I'm just looking at, as I pulled up, these fun facts about J. Craig Venter and some of the descriptions of what he has done and how I have done it. This is an LLM that is taking spoken language written in written form, so written language, anyways, and fucking that up rather often, or hallucinating, or coming up with its own stuff. And I'm curious why. I'm curious why that's an issue or why that's a thing. Part of me thinks there's something very human about that problem.
Well, I think it makes total sense why it hallucinates in regular typed language, like in conversation,
Okay.
in a way that is doesn't apply to coding, computers, and programs and math.
Right.
Like, at least my understanding is that these LLMs don't hallucinate as much at all when it comes to math and coding.
Hmm.
The hallucinations that come from the chat side of it are very similar to like what you might call a human being embellishing shit at a backyard barbecue.
Right.
That human at the barbecue is incentivized to embellish to impress you because it thinks that that human thinks that's what you want to hear. Like
Right.
you'll be more interested. That's what ChatGPT is doing in
Right.
those chats. It's predicting you're going to like what it says even if it's wrong because you're not going to investigate it. It's betting on you not investigating it and not getting mad that it's wrong. It's betting on you liking what it says and moving on because that's
Well, I also
actually how
think that
humans
there's a
work.
lot more variables within the words that it's choosing, the information that it's pulling from, how it's putting those words together into sentence form. I think that
Yeah.
there's a lot more there that is up for its own interpretation,
Yeah. There's some of
where
that.
within math and coding, we know that if we want the color blue to appear on a web page, this is the
Yeah.
code to put in to make the color blue.
Right. It's basically like if you could tell a human it's about it's thinking on a certain problem is flawed, or you could tell a human that it's thinking on a certain problem is really smart. The patterns it's working with would tell the ChatGPT agent that telling a human it's really smart and on the right track is really valuable and it's
Yes.
gonna work. Whereas if you try to look for patterns of if you're ChatGPT and you're like, my human's asking me what 2 plus 2 equals. I can't find a single example out on the internet showing a human being happy with any answer to that other than 4. So, I'm gonna go with 4. I mean,
Mhm.
that's essentially how it works. They're predicting what you want based on your question, your problem, whatever you're trying to give it, the prompt. Where I was going with this too, though, was the another thing that we could call language we talked about at the beginning. What is DNA? It's a fucking code.
It's code.
It's coded instructions for life.
And
So
even it mutates and fucks up and does things incorrectly or changes during replication.
And we used AI, the scientists used AI extensively in this April 30th published paper to try to figure out, based on probabilities and predictive patterns, which of the amino acids would be most likely to be like fungible or extraneous, so that they could isolate the ones that maybe a life form could live without. And that's how they ended up with isoleucine as the candidate, because AI ran so many simulations over this shit and came up with that.
I'd feel like shit if I were isoleucine right now.
You thought you were essential like Pluto. You're not even fucking essential anymore.
Pluto.
You and
Tell me it
Pluto
ain't a planet no more.
got your own club now.
Make no damn sense.
Stealing
that from me.
I just don't know. This isn't the AI episode, I don't think, but it's
going to be hard to not talk about AI almost in
all the time.
Episode, to be honest.
All the time.
It just is. Well, at least it went AI. I mean, I feel like this conversation about life, we could have talked about abortion.
Bro. Put that in the title too. Hoobastank abortion and other. Hoobastank. I think what I'm worried about is anything that gets, like I said at the beginning, anything that gets easier, the democratization of technology that is quite consequential. We don't have a lot of proxies for that. We don't. The only real one we have is the nuclear bomb, basically. I mean, in terms of stakes. So we live in this super connected world. We live in this world where technology is getting easier and easier to get. If you have something that could escape containment
right
at any moment, and you're dealing with dozens of somethings like that, we're now already in like, well, what is it? Is it a piece of code that someone accidentally gets AI to write that fucks up the entire grid in like 70 countries? Is it like something that's going to get into some sort of hack that gets into the aviation system? Is it the financial system? Is it?
I hope the financial system. That's the one I hope it is.
I know. We're going to have your whole fiat currency episode at some point, I'm sure, but
we don't talk about Fight Club.
If it's fucking biological warfare at this point, I mean, we already have fucked up in this regard, in terms of like messing around with dangerous shit in labs that escapes labs that could have global effects. I don't know. Now it's just easier. Now we don't need like,
and even if it's not that, people will believe it's that because they know that it's a possibility.
It is a possibility. It's a minimum possibility. So it's like, whenever you get to this point, we're way out ahead of any sort of regulation and control over this stuff. And that's just never happened before. So if you use the only proxy that we have, which is nuclear weaponry, splitting the atom and what the good and the bad of that. Well, what people understood the entire time was that this is highly destructive and mutually destructive technology if it's ever used. And people then they had time to like conceive of that, decades to like really get that in their heads, culturally even. And then it percolated into the governments of the world, and like we started having treaties and agreements and disarmament, and like we were able to think of it over an arc of time that allowed us to be smarter about how to deal with it. This isn't happening. Like we're we're not even able to get regulation on social media itself because the social media algorithmic evolution has gone so fast that government doesn't know how to handle that. And
Well,
now
it's more
Meta's
than
like,
I mean, it's more than that. Again, going back to money, it's become very, very much tied to financial gain, across the board. If you could pay a politician $2 million and you're bringing in, 20 billion, that's a no-brainer
but
as
at this
a
point,
tech guy.
because of the recent lawsuits, I think because of the recent lawsuits, I think what those companies are going to be clamoring for soon is regulation. It might have not been the strategy before, but now I think companies would rather have laws to work around than continue to get sued by limitless numbers of people and be held liable for limitless billions of dollars of damages because they fucked up, which is happening now. And I'm just saying,
We'll see.
our technology is outpacing our ability to even think about the ramifications of it,
Well, when
and
you
it's
yeah,
getting into our culture.
when you elect government officials who are moving into their 70s and 80s and can't even and are out of touch with a lot of these things as well,
That
like
doesn't
you're
help.
exponentially making it even worse.
Well, I think boomers are making up a huge demographic of TikTokers these days, but um, your point is well made. Your point is well made. I agree. So I'm a little concerned that now we have AI is now able to do yet another fucking weird thing that was very hard for humans to do in the past and might become fairly easy for AI to do soon enough. And yeah, I'm not super optimistic about how AI is going to work. In fact, at this point, I'm like, what would be better? AI becoming sentient or not becoming sentient and fucking humans, the wrong people, like continuing
Yeah,
to
yeah,
control.
yeah. I mean, I think that you've explored that idea before. The idea that that AI becoming sentient might be the better option. Might save us from ourselves.
I don't say that with full of like
No,
certainty.
no, of course
I
not.
don't even say that as like I wish that would happen.
How
It's
could
more
you? How
like
could anyone?
we are getting to the point where there isn't a great, like, most likely good outcome because we're in race dynamics now. Race dynamics, and I don't want to get deep into this. Don't worry, Jared. We're already at
Well,
an hour, and
I think this is the transition.
I think we're good. But I will say, what we'll talk about in the future is how this can go wrong. And when you have a race, when you start incentivizing different groups and entities to go faster, bigger, without guardrails, and then it becomes a multinational, like nationalistic race dynamic situation, which is happening now with China and the US. And it's like good things don't tend to happen under those constructs. And so, given that, there just aren't a lot of great outcomes that I look at and think, yep, it's all going to be fine.
The transition is how can we like speed this up? Talking about a race. Google and Microsoft going at it in the quantum computer space. And at the moment, in the immediate, it looks like Google has the edge in the quantum computing space with their, I believe it's called Willow chip. Is that the name of the chip or is that the name of the program? Who knows? Who knows?
Stay tuned.
Oh, it is. It's their chip. It's their processor. It's called Willow.
Nice. Nailed it.
But Microsoft did this whole thing. All right, let's see if we can break this down.
Yeah. Do it.
They've got this new chip where the particles are basically like on the board. they're topological.
Okay.
Okay. And it's a different state of matter, they're claiming. And the reason this matters
Shit.
is because the typical way that we do quantum computing with these particles is the particles are at higher risk of disruption when they're not in this topological state. Basically, other things hitting them, and that's where they get the errors in the computing. And then they have these other qubits. We didn't even break down a qubit yet, that have to correct those errors. And now, because Microsoft has been able to create this new state of matter with their chips, it basically reduces the disruptions and the errors, which they believe is going to make it a lot easier to get to this 1 million qubits goal.
Okay, so it's not liquid.
Right.
It's not solid.
Right. It's in a quasi state.
It's
in
not
some sort of quasi state.
It's not air, vapor. Okay.
Right.
And it's not plasma.
Right.
Okay. So maybe it's like I know it's a quasi state. So, and in quantum, whatever, things can be multiple things at once. But it sounds like this particular state of matter is trying to get the particles to just be cool, right? It's like chilling them motherfuckers out.
Yeah. Be cool.
So, could we call it like be cool jelly or something?
But I don't know if it's jelly. Right?
What could it be?
Like, here's the other thing. Like, plasma to me sounds like something that's like slime. I've always thought plasma had that idea of like,
yeah,
but that has nothing. No, all it is it's basically gas with like free flowing electrons or some shit.
Well,
there's something about it where it could, you know, where if some shit wasn't going a certain way, it would be a gas.
For sure, yeah. But that's true of all states of matter,
yeah,
right?
I guess you're right.
If that liquid shit was fucking hard, it'd be a solid.
Yeah. There's
if my aunt had a
facts about plasma.
Dick, she'd be my uncle. But I think it should be called jelly. I think it should be called Be Cool Jelly.
Majorana 1 is the name of the chip.
Okay.
And they're trying to claim that we might be hitting this transistor moment, like the invention of the transistor that changed everything. I don't know. I still haven't been able to see, what I haven't looked into is I hear a lot about there are skeptics that they're not really able to do this. And I'm just curious, like, well, either they can or what do you mean, like, can't? Like, why are where's the skepticism coming from? I just don't know. Is it because they haven't had a hands-on look at it, or they being haters? Are they just hating on some Microsoft?
Yeah.
I mean,
probably.
possibly, or are they right? I don't know that would a company like Microsoft come out and make a claim like this and be full of shit.
Is all the hate coming from like the iPhone subreddit? I mean, is it just a bunch of iPhone users?
I haven't really seen specifically where this skepticism comes from. I didn't see where the pushback comes from.
Maybe it's a straw man, Jared.
Maybe.
What is the whole thing about quantum computing? Why do we care about quantum computing?
Because if they can get this 1 million qubit chip to run, I think right now they have like 8 or something, like 8 qubits, and they need 1 million.
What?
Yeah, I think that there was something. Let me read more.
Okay.
Anyways,
read it right now.
If they get to that point that it's like it's exponential, it's more computing power than all the computers on Earth and all that shit. It can get to the point where it can figure out, it can solve things, it can process things, that it can figure out things that it hasn't even thought of yet.
Okay, say no more.
So like a qubit, instead of thinking of that, you know, how silicon has the on-off capability, right? So you get your ones and your zeros in your programming. Well, a qubit gives you 1, 0, and everything in between. Like there's almost like a multiverse feature to this shit, which is a whole other separate thing that I want to read more about. I don't fully understand it. I know that they have to keep
That's
it
clear.
like 10.
That we've
It's
yeah.
like 10 times colder than interstellar space that they have to keep. Like they have to keep this chip that cool. It's like the coldest place on Earth is where this chip is right now.
Like 1 Kelvin.
It's a microkelvin.
It's a microkelvin?
Microkelvins, yeah. It's some sort of microkelvin.
Oh.
Yeah. All right. I feel like we're just confusing people with this, but
it's a good name for your anatomy.
Where is it?
And now it's time for Jake's super amazing trivia of the week.
What is that? Oh my God. Did you just save that did my brother redo that for you?
And now
you don't have to play it twice.
Jake's super amazing trivia of the week.
You said, what is that? I had to play it again. Wow, Ian, is it time already? We're only an hour and 12 minutes in. Ian, you're probably right, because Jared is reading live on the air. He's trying to find things.
Here it is. It's because, all right, so the people didn't believe it because there's major pushback because public evidence didn't convince many researchers that Microsoft had demonstrated an actual topological qubit.
Oh, so they're like, they might just be putting out press releases about this shit.
The Nature paper was important, but it fell short of proving the strongest version of Microsoft's claim, is what people are saying.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, Scott Aronson.
Jake's super amazing, not at all annoying. Fun fact.
Why? Why? Are you just trying to shut it down? Are you saying it's time to go? Is that what you're doing? I feel like we just started this.
I was filling the dead air of you reading the internet while we're doing a live show.
You don't have to. Don't worry about that. Nobody's watching.
Yes, people are watching.
Nobody's watching.
Right now,
in
the future, which is now the present for some people, they were watching and listening.
Now I'm trying to listen to you, and it's pulling my focus away, and I can't even.
The total biomass of bacteria on Earth,
go ahead,
is greater than the biomass of all plants and animals combined. There are also more bacterial cells in your body than human cells.
All right, that's odd. That's odd. So
my super amazing trivia.
Are we alive? Or are we just
in charge?
Or are we just made of alive things?
Who's in charge of this fucking meat sack?
I don't know, man. Sometimes I really don't know.
Maybe.
Some of the choices I made in my life, God bless. I got no clues in charge. Wasn't me. Or was it? All right, this was a topic. You brought this up to me. You're the one that you sent me this message and said, you want to talk about this? So give me something here.
I said, this was weeks ago.
You said a new form of matter, and I corrected you and said state of matter.
Yeah. I sent something a while ago, and wasn't that a long time ago? When did I send that to you?
I thought you just sent it to me today.
Well, I sent you a screenshot of it today.
Yeah, this has been going on. Yeah, this is like a year old, right?
Yeah. I just said, here's a bunch of stuff that we were talking about a year ago when we were starting our show again a year ago, which we never fully restarted. But I was like, I went back in our chats from a year ago to see what we were discussing as like topics for the show. And that was one of the things I screenshotted. And your reply in the screenshot was about, oh yeah, this Microsoft creating a new state of matter reminds me of the quantum computing race that's happening. That's a cool topic, or something like that.
I wish I had. Yeah. See, I need that. I need the paper. I need the article.
That's why I sent it to you. So I'm like, and I even asked you today. I'm like, can you talk about this quantum computing thing?
Because the race or the computer stuff, the computing stuff. I mean, I could talk about some of the computing stuff.
The
I
race,
literally
like,
responded
I
to you, and
don't
I was like, I
care.
could talk to you about a qubit.
You did not say that.
I said that in my text today, didn't I? Tell me that's not what I said.
You did not.
Oh, well.
Okay, you said, I think I said we can mention
Yeah, I
this.
said I know about qubits and how there's an idea about them working through multiverse in the same or some shit like that.
But yeah, well, that was covered. You just nailed all
I
that.
did that. Yeah, so I did it.
I think I can a little. So
I mean, it's
said
some
you-
mind-bending shit, right? It's hard to. I mean, it's not an easy thing to talk about at all. But basically, the whole idea is that if they have done this, then they may have found a way to reduce the disruption to the qubits, you know, vibrations, any of that shit, because they are
because of the Be Cool jelly.
because they are a part of a structure
Yeah. Yeah.
instead of
Well,
free floating.
okay. I think what you're saying is if they get to this point, and what did you say? We only have 6 qubits and we're trying to get 1 million, right? Whatever those numbers are, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Well, I just need to.
Don't furrow your brow.
It always looks that way.
It's only looking that way when you're fucking Googling stuff again. You're trying to read stuff. Doesn't matter. Look at it. You just did it again.
I'm listening to you.
Their brows furrowed. If we get to that point, then all of a sudden, well, first thing that's going to happen, that's computing power. We still need the
Microsoft,
resources.
as of 2025, Microsoft has developed a quantum chip named Majorana 1 that features 8 physical topological qubits. Goddamn, I'm good. Prototype acts as a proof of concept.
Why are you reading again?
And they want to scale it up to 1 million.
I really just said whatever those numbers are.
Well,
close enough. We can get the technology that's going to do that.
Yeah.
Still need to, aside from the fact we're going to have to figure out environmentally how to do that, like if shit has to be a micro Kelvin cold, how are we going to, where's all that water coming from? But aside from that, that just means we now have even better
sort of gas they're using.
We don't need water for that. Are you reporting that this won't require any more water? I don't know of any.
Keep it. Listen, this ain't a water-cooled AMD processor what we're talking about here. We're talking about some.
I'm just saying computing resources in general. Like this is what we're talking about with AI data centers. Like trying
between 10 and 100 millikelvins. Millikelvins.
This is the part of the show.
And the quantum chip itself does not use water to function.
They don't need water.
Cryogenic cooling. The primary cooling is achieved via dilution refrigerators. These use a circulating mixture of helium-3 and helium-4 isotopes rather than water. Told you, man. Can't make water. Ain't going to keep that shit cold.
Great,
bro.
Okay, so
about ice. What's cooler than being cool?
Ice cold.
A millikelvin. All right.
How is micro Kelvin doing? Is he good?
Millikelvin. What are you talking about?
I'm nothing. I'm not talking about your genitals. I was just making conversation. I was,
bro. Grow up.
I know. I said I wasn't. It's a funny name though. Micro Kelvin.
It's millikelvin.
It's millikelvin. I know, but micro Kelvin is funny. If we get to this point, especially if it doesn't require a bunch of precious natural water resources, that just means we're going to get even faster with our fucking computing and all the ramifications that come along with that. We have quantum computing. Guess where that shit's going to go? Right to AI. Now we have quantum AI computing. We're fucked.
Yeah, I think I've said before, like the moment that somebody has that, right? It like completely, it'll decode anything because it can figure out, because again, it's not binary. It can figure out everything 1, 0, and everything in between. It could decode literally anything because it can figure out every single possibility, not over like a period of time. Like it's not like it's quantum. It's not it does it all at once.
Yeah. It's doing it and not doing it simultaneously.
Yeah.
And completely.
And doing it here and not here simultaneously. Like,
Yep.
what the fuck does that even mean? Again, then, now, all right, so what is alive? What's reality? What is this? Like, what is life? Like, what? Bro, we're inventing shit we don't even know how to clearly explain what it is that we're doing.
No.
I mean,
we don't even know how. Dude, we literally don't know how AI large language models function. That's just we don't understand quantum. In fact, the best quantum scientists from the beginning of discovering quantum mechanics onto the present day literally say and write books and shit that it's like,
yeah,
we don't know what this is. And if anyone says they know what this is, they're actually not good quantum scientists.
I love that. This the AI thing. We know fundamental principles of how LLMs function mathematically and architecturally, but we don't fully understand the reasoning or specific internal strategies they develop to solve complex problems.
No.
What?
It's when you
just
read
out here
about
doing shit.
When you read about or like delve into fucking AI, I have to stop using that word. Did you notice? I can't use delve anymore because it's like one of ChatGPT's favorite words. Anyway, when you get into the content or the folks who train these AIs and like how they do it, it's scary as fuck because it's essentially like if you caught an alien and trapped it in a facility and we're trying to like understand it and get it to answer you and like interrogate it and stuff.
Mhm.
That's how it sounds when these people are talking about training models because they don't know what it's going to do or why. And they frequently are trying to trick the humans training them. This happens.
Yeah, that's
Like,
why they
it's
don't
part of
release
the
some of these
protocol.
models.
Yes.
Because they're like, oh shit, this one tried to like take over everything. Or this one just wanted to like come up with ways to kill everyone. I mean, I don't know if they go that far.
And it's all out there. Like, this is all out there. I'm not making stuff up. This is all these
Yeah, I
people
know.
are
Anthropic,
openly.
I think, has been pretty forward with some of the crazier models that they've been like, ooh, I don't know about this one.
They just decided not to release the recent one because of how good it was at finding vulnerabilities in code.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, better than almost any human coder on Earth and much faster. So
can we keep this
I
shit
just
out of
mean
certain administrations' hands, please?
it all of what is happening in terms of like training and improving AIs is happening from literally a trial and error process, which is not how a lot of other tech works. You can improve coding, for example, by planning like how to do the code and then executing it. And oh, I found a bug. Like how NASA does technology. We like to say if the technology doesn't exist to get the mission done, then we invent it. NASA invents stuff in order for missions to go because they know they might have 7, 8, 10 years to do it. That is a stepwise process of like building from existing technology.
It's goal oriented. It's they know specifically what they want it to do and what they're looking for.
Like if we did this, we could maybe expect that. And then if that happened, we could expect this. And so let's go forward, thinking ahead, executing a process that's a plan. It's like that's how technology generally works. That is not how the techiest minded people now are operating when it comes to AI.
So
They are training models.
while AI is not sentient, what I'm getting vibes of here is a very nature versus nurture developmental aspect of LLMs, in the sense that we think, you think you can kind of control it and know where it's going, but maybe not. I might the same how we understand human behavior and how we come to be a certain way or develop our personalities or act out in certain ways or have our certain triggers of that's what this kind of sounds like. That there's a level of predictability, but the level of unpredictability is still there to the point where that shit's scary.
Yeah, it's not a comfortable level.
No.
Yeah. And so
I mean, I've been fascinated with it since the beginning. I can't help but love. Also, I do love that shirt. I need to buy his book. What's the first name? It's Gray. I can't remember his first name though.
who are you talking about? This is a Tool shirt.
Yeah, it's a Tool shirt, but the artist, his name is
the artist.
it's something
Sorry.
Gray. You didn't know this? He has
And now it's
coffee
time
table books.
for Jared's Googling of t-shirt art. There he's furrowing his brow. Keyboard in front now.
What the? I need his name.
Looking
Alex
to the
Gray.
left.
There it is. Alex Gray.
Alex Gray. Wish we had still wish I had my soundboard. There was that one sound that was people clapping and cheering when you did good stuff. I miss it. Well, hey man.
Why is it not?
That was solid hour and 28 minutes. I'm good. Are you good? What you doing over there?
Trying to get this clapping thing to work. It ain't working.
Ah,
I'm gonna say it, man. I'm already fed up with the interface we use.
oh man, I thought you were gonna say you're giving me permission to get my soundboard. Shit.
No.
All right.
All right. So yeah, my brain's tired after some of this conversation. Anyways, got a lot to think about.
Well, that's how it goes, man. That's how it's gonna go every time.
Is it? Are we going to develop some sort of framework for our show, or are we just going to wing it like an LLM and nobody's going to know what's going to happen? The unpredictability is still not at a comfortable level, but here we are.
I mean, we could say we're gonna do that.
Yeah,
Let's go ahead and say that we're gonna do that. Yeah. We're gonna
maybe.
come up with a framework.
Is the show better if we did?
Let's try it. Let's keep the audience let's string them along and let them wait interminably for a structured show.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it'll happen, maybe not. This is just you and I bullshitting anyways.
I like the idea. I like the idea of segments. I like the idea of us stopping each other somewhat arbitrarily, even if we have more things to say. And I particularly mean you stopping me from talking. That's almost always a great idea.
I should have done it at Ryan's wedding. Or my own.
You did do it at
I
your
did,
own.
yeah. I had him play the music.
Yeah, this motherfucker asked me to give his best man speech and then had the DJ play hook music and right in the middle
Wrap
of
it up,
my
B. Wrap that
probably
shit
a
up.
12-minute speech. Maybe we should read that on one of the episodes. I still have it.
No.
All right, I'll do that one without you.
We had this conversation on an episode that we never aired on a show that we're only starting now.
As soon as you go to bed, I'm gonna fire this thing back up
and go live on your own. And we're back. All right, man. Well, yeah, good talk.
And we're back. All right.
What did we even talk about?
Dude. Hoobastank.
The creation
Synthetic
of life.
bacteria.
What is life?
Science, naming, understanding, spectrums,
Spectrum.
non-binaries.
Non-binaries. We don't talk about that
Bro.
non-binary bullshit around here. Yes, we fucking do. Yes, we fucking do. Are you sure about that? No. Talk about it all day.
All day, every day.
All right. Jake, great talking.
Love you, brother.
Love you too. Talk to you again later. Everybody, bye. See you later.
Peace.